Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today is going to be a battle of the bags, and I'm going to be completely honest, I didn't plan this video. I didn't write any notes. I just kind of am going to wing it. Yeah, it's a battle of the bags. So it's the Chanel Classic Flat Medium versus the Chanel 19 in the small size. Before I dive into the video, if you are new to my channel and you love all things luxury, then I would appreciate if you hit that subscribe button below, and also the bell so you can be notified when I upload new videos. I have a weekend upload every week, but then I also try to have a midweek upload as well. I am a mum with 2 kids, so my life is pretty frantic and I can't always keep to my schedule, but you know, it is what it is. So yeah, if you are new to my channel, my name is Mel. I've been buying and collecting, well, I wouldn't say collecting, actually, yeah, I wouldn't say the word collecting, because I feel like when you say the word collecting, that's like saying that you hold on to everything and you never let it go. 18 years I have been buying and enjoying luxury goods, mostly handbags, so I am a handbag enthusiast, and no doubt about that. So yeah, that's a little quick introduction about me if you are new to my channel. Hopefully you do decide to subscribe. But yeah, anyways, these bags. Now, I have actually owned this one a little bit longer. This came out with Chanel Spring Summer Act 1. It was the 21p caramel. So I think that I've owned this since maybe like March or something. I can't remember exactly, but early on in 2021. Whereas this bag came a little bit later. This was actually also from Spring Summer, but it was from Act 2. So it's 21S. It's the Rose Lilac Classic Flap, and I actually got this in, I think it was May, around about May I got it. I ended up buying it from someone else who bought it brand new from the Hong Kong boutique, but then she ended up getting the small classic flap in this size, and she wanted to let go of the medium, which I was more than happy to take off her hands. So yeah, that's why I have this bag. Well, that's the kind of quick story about it. And this one did come directly from the store in Australia. I was really lucky to be able to get this. But yeah, battle of the bags. And at the end, I'm going to tell you my overall preference. I feel like this video is definitely going to be based more upon my personal opinion. I am still going to be, you know, objective, but I feel like when it comes to doing these kind of reviews and you're doing like a battle of the bag, you have to have some sort of personal touch in there, and you have to, you know, you can be as objective as you want, but you still have to have a personal touch, because I feel like it's going to help for others who have a relatable lifestyle. So like I said, I'm a mum with 2 very young kids. My son is only just over 1 year old. My daughter is 4 turning 5. So that's my lifestyle. And I'm a stay-at-home mum. I work from home. I run my business from home. So yeah, like if you have a relatable lifestyle, then maybe like my opinion might be helpful to you. If you have an opposite lifestyle, then my opinion may also be helpful for you to go, well, you know, I'm not going to have these kind of issues or worries or whatever it may be. So let's start off with something really, really simple. And we're going to start off with kind of a quick history of these bags. So this was actually introduced by Carl more recently. I don't know the exact year. Like I said, I didn't go ahead and write notes, but it is a more recent release. So I think it's been out. I remember that when they first launched Chanel 19, I was pregnant with my son, and he was born in 2020. So I think this came out in 2019. Going off the top of my head, feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like it's like a 2019, like maybe late 2018 sort of release. So it hasn't been around for very long, the Chanel 19. Whereas the classic flap has been around for donkey's years. So a very, very, very long time. So to put that in perspective, this is a new classic bag, and by the word classic, that means that it is always going to be around. It's just that the colors will change per season, but it is always going to be around. So your classic colors are your black, your white, and your beige. They are always around all year round, and then there will be seasonal colors. And then that's the same thing as well for the classic flap. It's always around in black, beige, and white all year round, but the colors will change based on the season, and that's why I have different colors than those that I've just mentioned. In terms of sizing, I feel like these are pretty darn comparable, and that's why I feel like this is the best kind of battle of the bags. So the classic flat medium is the dimensions of 27 centimeters by 17 centimeters high. So 27 centimeters in the length, 17 centimeters high, and then 7 centimeters in the width. So to give that perspective there, and then I'll give you the Chanel 19 measurements in a moment. So you can see kind of, they are like pretty much spot on sort of thing in size. Yeah, so you can even see as well with the height, they are pretty similar. The Chanel 19s are a little bit higher, but still relatively similar. So they are really the best to kind of do a comparison on. And then the Chanel 19 is 26 centimeters on the length. And then it's 16 centimeters in the height, whereas this was 17 centimeters. And then the actual width, so, or the depth, I should say, is 9 centimeters versus 7 centimeters. So there is a little bit more difference there, and you can, that's probably where you would noticeably see that more of a difference is in the depth. So size wise, they are pretty darn comparable. However, capacity I do feel is different. So I actually feel in terms of the sizing, in terms of what your bag can fit, I would say the Chanel 19 is definitely the winner in my opinion, because it does look pretty similar in its size. The dimensions are really close, but this does actually fit more. And I will do a quick video insert on the screen of what like fits in each of these bags. So in terms of sizing, I actually feel like the Chanel 19 is the better bag because the specs are pretty much the same, but this bag actually fits more, and that's purely because it's more of like a mushy sort of shape. Like it's not so structured. The classic flat medium is definitely very structured, so it does make it a little bit more kind of cumbersome with getting in and out of the bag and the kind of contents that you can put in the bag, whereas this bag definitely has a lot more flexibility. Okay, so let's do a quick kind of, you know, while we're talking about contents, it kind of fits and showing you what fits in the bag, give you an overview of how the classic flap opens. So you've got the turn lock, then you got to open it up here, and then you have the double flap, and then you put the contents inside. You've also got like a front pocket here. My dog wants to jump in. Then you've got some back pockets at the back, and then the slot here. Now with closing the bag, you do have to snap button the double flap, and for that snap button to really actually catch, the bag has to be full. So right now there's nothing in the bag, so I'm not going to be able to shut the bag. It's just not going to catch on. But the bag needs to be full, and then you'll have that support behind it, and that's when you can actually use that snap button for the double flap. If you don't want to use the snap button for the double flap, just be aware that if your contents are full, when you do close this over, I have actually experienced where it has left like an indentation, but it didn't stay, thank goodness. But if you were to repeatedly do that, or do that for a long period of time, I imagine that this will eventually leave a permanent indentation on the actual caviar flap just here. So that's the snap button, like the whatever you call it, like the tail of it. If you were to close that and you just left it like that, and then when you close the bag, I would say over time that's going to leave some kind of a permanent indentation somewhere around there, because it happened to me in just a short period of time of only using the bag for like a couple hours. So that's something to note. When I actually store this bag, because of that snap button, I always make sure that I put the glove just here, and then I will go ahead and I'll close the bag with that glove sitting there to protect from the snap button causing any indentation. But yeah, that's how that opens and closes, is with the turn lock and the double flap. It does also have the Mona Lisa pocket at the back. Chanel 19 is also a turn lock, so it opens up like that, but there is no double flap, so it is like, you know, a single flap. It's like a single flap. Like before, you know, Chanel used to do their classic flaps without the double flap and only the single flap. I do have an insert inside, which is actually an insert that I like stock on my eBay store. It's just a felt insert. So that's how it looks inside. It doesn't have the same kind of organization that the classic flap medium has, or any of the classic flaps for that matter, not counting the mini flaps because they're technically not classic, but small, medium, large. Well, sorry. Small, medium, large, which is the same size, jumbo and maxi are your classic flap classic sizes. Chanel 19 just has the zip pocket in there, and I've just got the authenticity card inside there. Usually I leave it inside the box, but for some reason I have it inside this bag, but whatever. But yeah, no compartments whatsoever. So if you do want compartments, it's probably better to go ahead and get an insert. I didn't show the insert that I was using, but personally I'm using my own brand of Chanel 19 insert. It is a felt one, and I feel like with Chanel you can kind of get away with felt inserts, but I just don't know longevity wise if it's gonna, you know, do anything to the bag, because I'm not as experienced with Chanel as I am with Hermes. So that's why I haven't shown you that insert. But, you know, if you are looking for a Chanel 19 insert and, you know, you are okay with felt, then I'm more than happy to just send you my link, or I'll just put a link to the Chanel 19 insert that I use. It's from my own brand. I'll put a link to the description bar and I might as well show you it. So this is what I was using inside. It does fit well. It's just that I had to get one made, and that's why I said it's my own brand, because I didn't want something that had too much sort of structure to the felt. I wanted it to be a little bit kind of more malleable, because I just know that in my experience with using felt inserts in Hermes bags, they've kind of done more harm than good. So I was a bit particular to make sure that I got an insert that was kind of not like super like stiff. So in terms of the actual use of this bag, in terms of opening, closing, putting your stuff in, the Chanel 19 is definitely the better bag than the classic flap medium. I would say hands down for sure the Chanel 19 wins in accessibility. But this bag wasn't designed to be that kind of bag that's, you know, a day-to-day kind of run around sort of bag. This wasn't designed like that. This is the classic flap. This is like iconic Chanel. So I feel like they had more of like in mind to be designed as something that's more elegant, feminine. I feel like this bag was designed in mind to always look classic and structured and just, you know, look kind of pristine forever. Whereas this was designed to be more casual, carefree and easygoing. So that would be why for sure this is going to win that category hands down. I don't know at what point the Chanel 19 will kind of get to that pricing, but I feel like the classic flaps are always just going to go up more and more exponentially, like than what the Chanel 19 will go up. So in terms of like bang for your buck pricing, this is definitely going to win because it's cheaper, it fits a little bit more, and it's easier to use. So, but there are some other things that you have to keep in mind, and we'll get to that a little bit later. Now let's talk about actual leather options. With the classic flap, you will get it in like lambskin, caviar, which is what this is, calfskin as well. And then they might have like, you know, iridescent versions like iridescent calfskin, iridescent lambskin. Then they have like tweed fabrics. Look, there's going to be a lot of varieties. It's probably something I've even missed as well. Chanel 19 lambskin predominantly is the main one that's used for the Chanel 19. And then there's also goat skin, which you don't see as often. It's a little bit like kind of shiny, and it feels perhaps a little bit more like hard wearing than lambskin. Lambskin does have a delicacy about it, and it does tend to scratch. And then you've also got fabric options, so you know, the tweed, and then you've got like, you know, just other types of fabrics as well. So iridescent does exist. I think there's been like an iridescent calfskin or an iridescent, actually I think there's been like an iridescent lambskin done of the Chanel 19 before, but it's just because the bag hasn't been around long enough. So there isn't as much kind of like material options as what there is with the classic flap. But leather options, fabric options, whatever, I'd say that the classic flap definitely wins in that category because there seems to be less available in terms of options for the Chanel 19. Options in terms, like going back to the sizing factors, I feel like these are kind of somewhat comparable. Like let's say that for the sake of like, you know, doing the sizing, that we do count in the mini classic flap and the square classic flaps. They are technically like seasonal, but they are classic flaps still as well. They're still referred to as classic flaps. And they are definitely classic in size. So you got, yeah, the mini rectangular, the square, you've got the small, you've got the medium, which is this one. And then you've got the jumbo, and then you have the maxi. Then you also have the XL classic flap, which is a travel one, which is most definitely seasonal. It doesn't come back very often. And then the Chanel 19, you've got the small, which is this. You have the medium large, same size. So you can call it large, you can call it medium, it's going to be the exact same size. And then you've also got the maxi Chanel 19. So you've only got 3 sizes. So in terms of sizing options, 100% the classic flap wins in that category. There is far more sizing options with the classic flap range. Now, wearability, actually wearing these bags. So let me just open this up so we can actually show you the full strap length. This is the medium classic flap. So in terms of like, you know, the small, the mini, the strap length is going to change. Okay, so double strapped, the strap drop is 25 centimeters. And then if you were to just have it single strap drop, about 43 centimeters. So it is not long enough to do crossbody in my opinion. You pretty much need the bag to be at least about 90 to 95 centimeters to try and do it crossbody. Otherwise, it just looks kind of awkward. Even on me as someone who's only short, I'm only 156 centimeters and I still feel it kind of looks a little bit awkward in where it sort of sits on me. Whereas the Chanel 19, it is definitely a longer strap drop, but you can't double strap it. However, you do have that kind of top handle there. It's not long enough to put it on the shoulder. However, the actual shoulder strap in the Chanel 19 is a much more generous drop. So you can actually more comfortably wear this crossbody. So the drop on this is about 50 centimeters. I feel like it sits at the perfect length crossbody, but shoulder drop, like just on the shoulder, I feel like it's a bit too long for me with my height, but that might be different for someone who is taller. But I also feel like someone who is taller can still wear this crossbody quite comfortably and it'll still look totally fine. So with the classic flap, there is another way that you can kind of play with the straps to use it just as like a top handle, but it won't have, like, you pretty much got to play with both the straps to get it down to that top handle length. Whereas the Chanel 19 already has a top handle. So I feel like in terms of, you know, strap functionality, its features, I feel like the Chanel 19 wins again because you've got a top handle, you don't have to play around with the strap to get it. I feel like the only downfall is that you can't really shoulder carry it if you are short. It's only going to be good if you're like, you know, kind of average height to tall sort of thing. But I just feel like in terms of this one, because you can't crossbody, you can only use it like double strapped on the shoulder. You can only use it like single strap down. I just feel like the Chanel 19 offers more functionality in terms of its straps, but I know that the classic flap in the small is a bit different. The classic flap in the small, you can sometimes kind of get away with it crossbody, but just comparing, you know, the medium classic flap to the Chanel 19, because their sizing is pretty much the same. But yeah, that's that. I kind of feel like, you know, I'm pretty much dwindling down to the very final point, which is, yeah, it's not going to be my personal opinion. We're not going to do that yet, which one I pick. It can either fall into the category of you don't want to spend as much on a classic bag. You're not worried about how long the bag has been around. Then you probably would be better off to go for the Chanel 19 because it is the cheaper option and it's still a classic. However, if you want something that's got more surety, you want something that's more of a guaranteed investment, something that's been around for a very long time, which is definitely the classic flap, then the classic flap is the better choice. Because it has been around for so long. I think it was introduced in the 1980s or something like that. And it was like a reinterpretation of the iconic 2.55 reissue bag. So it's been around for a long time. It's definitely not going anywhere. It's definitely going to stay. So this is the far better investment in that retrospect, where if you want the surety that the bag's going to retain its value, even if you're the sort of person that feels like you might not want to keep a bag forever and you want to be able to have the option to sell the bag and not lose money, then I would say, or, you know, not lose money or hardly lose money. I would say more so not lose money. The Chanel classic flaps go up a couple times a year. And the classic flap, you know, when you look at that actual graph of how much it's gone up, it goes up exponentially, and it goes up much more than, you know, the boy bag, the Gabrielle, which is a newer classic sort of as well. It definitely goes up much more than this, but that hasn't been around for that long anyway. The Chanel 19, I noticed that in the resale market, pre-loved, it does sometimes sell for under retail, whereas the classic flaps in the seasonal colors, they sell for more than the retail price because they were seasonal and people can't get them anymore. The Chanel 19 doesn't have that same demand, and it really just stems down to the fact that this bag has been around for much longer. The classic flap has been around for a very long time, so the demand is always there. Investment wise, the classic flap wins hands down, no doubt about it. But I feel like if you're the sort of person that just buys bags that you love, you don't want to think about investment, you don't want to think about that sort of thing, but you want a classic bag, then the Chanel 19 is the better buy because it's still cheaper and it will go up in price as well. The only risk factor is if they decide to discontinue it, but which I don't think that they will. I don't think Chanel is going to discontinue the Chanel 19. There is nothing like it in their like classic range. This bag stands on its own. Like, there's no reason why I feel like they would discontinue this, unless this whole like slouchy sort of casual look goes away, but it won't, because generations have changed. People walk around in sweatpants, and people have streetwear now. Like, there is an actual term called streetwear. I do not feel that the Chanel 19 is going anywhere. It is a casual bag, but it's still Chanel, and it's still, you know, it doesn't have anything to it that really makes me think that it will go anywhere. Whereas I kind of feel like the Gabrielle bag, I know it was created by Carl, but I just feel like it hasn't cemented itself really to be something that could stay forever. Like, who knows though? Like, really, who knows? I'm only saying my predictions. I just feel like the Chanel 19, it's not going anywhere. I feel quite confident in saying that's going to be around for the next 10 years and more. I feel like it's just going to be around forever. This still does win though, no matter what. Investment status, what's the better bag to buy to make sure, you know, that even if you use the bag, it'll hold its value. This is the better buy. Now, I hope that I've kind of covered enough. I hope, because I didn't do any notes or anything like that. But what is my pick? What bag do I actually prefer? And this is going to be an easy answer for me. And I'm going to have to go with the Chanel 19. So the Chanel 19 is the bag that I actually pick. And it's for a multitude of reasons, and it's primarily to do with my lifestyle. So I like the fact that it costs less. So that's one thing that I really like about it, is that I can buy it from the store, and it's kind of, I can still stomach the price, you know, like, and I can kind of stomach it to the point where I can stomach the price where I kind of feel like I'm not too inclined to really, really baby the bag. Whereas the classic flap, I don't know why I keep putting it behind me when I know I need to refer to it again. The classic flap, it's over $11,000, and when you're at that price point, I feel more inclined to baby the bag. However, that being said, I do own Hermes bags that are like double the price of this, but there was just something about like Chanel classic flaps that I kind of feel like when you tick over that 10,000 price point for Chanel, I do have a bit of a different mindset on how I use the bag. So I don't feel as like carefree with using the medium classic flap. Plus, as well, with the fact that it's got the double flap inside, it does make it not so easy for me to be kind of carefree, because if I don't button this closed, it does, you know, run the risk of leaving permanent indentation in the leather, that kind of thing. So I also feel like in terms of its like weighting, this is like a lighter bag to me. Like I feel like they're both about the same weight, but I just feel like this kind of like has more of like a front forward kind of weight to it. So I don't feel like it's as easy for me to wear on the shoulder as well to be carefree. So crossbody is like, naturally you're already carefree when you're crossbody, because it's, you know, hugging to your body, you know, the bag's not going to fall off of you. Whereas this, I can't crossbody it comfortably. So I'm even like paranoid carrying it on the shoulder, trying to use it carefree with 2 kids. I want to really get to use them, but going back to the point, I just can't use the medium classic flap as easily as I can use the Chanel 19. There's just so much to the Chanel 19 that is better. It's easy to get in and out of. That's all that there is to it. There's no double flap. There's also that pocket at the back, which I forgot to even show you guys. It does have that pocket at the back of the bag, which has like a magnetic closure, and it's really big, so you can fit your phone inside. Whereas on the medium classic flap, you can't really always fit a phone inside. It's pretty tight, that back pocket there. So there's just so much to the Chanel 19 that I really love. I also feel like it, you know, with its smushy nature and that kind of thing, it just feels easier to wear it and pair it with outfits. Even though this isn't as easy to wear like as a night bag, I feel like it depends what color you get. If you can use it like as a night bag, I feel like it's definitely more of a day bag, especially in this caramel color. For me, I feel like it's more of a day bag. It's more of a casual bag, but my lifestyle is pretty casual, so it definitely like works fabulously for me. It ticks all the boxes for me in terms of a bag. There's really nothing that I can actually fault about it, other than the fact that it is in lambskin, so it it does have some scratches on it, but you can kind of buff them out with, like, you know, you can use your finger. As soon as a scratch happens, it usually works. Otherwise, you know, if you can't do it straight away when the scratches happened, leather conditioner tends to blend in the scratches anyway. So I don't worry all too much about that fact with the scratches, because if anything, you can actually scratch caviar leather as well if you have natural nails. It can happen. Yeah, it can happen. You can actually scratch caviar leather. So it's not as indestructible as people think, but it is still more, it's still more indestructible than lambskin, that's for sure. In terms of like versatility with these bags and styling it, this bag is definitely more casual. It has more of a casual vibe. I feel like there's only going to be certain colors that you can use this bag as a night bag, and only in the small size. If you're using the Chanel 19 in like a large or a maxi, I feel like it's just not that great as a night bag. It doesn't look, it really depends on where you're going though. Like if you're just going like casually to like a family restaurant, then any bag is fine. But if you say like going to like a black tie event, you know, something like that, a real fancy sort of dinner, then I feel like the Chanel 19 is not really going to fit the bill. Maybe in black or white, maybe kind of. Whereas the classic flap, especially up to like this size, the medium, I feel like it definitely does work as an evening bag, no problem. I feel like it just looks more dressy. So this is a bag that does go from day to night quite effortlessly. And it just, yeah, it just definitely fits the bill of being a night bag as well as a day bag. So in terms of actually like styling, you know, that kind of thing with day to night use, I feel like the Chanel Classic Flap definitely wins in that category because it is more versatile that way. That's my opinion. I just feel like this is the bag that you can wear day to night, and this is a bag that kind of is not so easy to kind of transition as a night bag. So that is my thoughts of both these bags, Battle of the Bags. Like I said, this bag does win, but that is more for my lifestyle. Do I regret buying this? No, not at all. I absolutely love this bag. I think it's amazing. But there is one thing I'm going to say, because I am totally honest on my channel, and that is coming back to the fact where I don't like the fact that this bag is just kind of sitting on the shelf and I'm not really able to use it because it's not so easy to use for my lifestyle. That being said, I'm also glad that I did buy it because I know that it holds its value. So I have a choice whether or not I choose to let it go. I know I'll get my money back. I won't lose money on it, which is nice because I've lost lots of money on selling Hermes bags, that's for sure. That didn't work out for me. And even Dior bags. So I'm really happy that I did get it because I had that peace of mind that if I want to let it go, it's going to hold its value. I'm not going to lose money on it. However, that being said, if I were to be able to buy a small classic flap in this color, I think that would probably be better for me, just so I could use it crossbody, just because of my lifestyle. I feel like the medium classic flap is the better bag because it fits more. The small classic flap is quite small. It doesn't fit as much, you know, it only fits the same as like a mini rectangular in capacity. So I feel like the medium classic flap is better than the small classic flap. However, if you are a mum with kids, or you have a very busy lifestyle where you kind of feel like you're always running about, you know, you're a bit clumsy like me because of my lifestyle. I feel like that's why I'm clumsy. But then again, I just feel like I've always been clumsy. Yeah, the small classic flap would be better for me. That being said, I wouldn't rule out having another medium classic flap. If I decided to let this go, I wouldn't rule out getting another medium classic flap. But I feel like the better thing for me to do would be to go for something vintage or something well pre-loved. So that way I'm saving money. So I mean, it has to be like a decent saving. Where for sure I would get a vintage medium classic flap as long as I'm saving a decent amount of money and I'm saving thousands, or if I'm getting a pre-loved one and I'm saving thousands, you know, then I think that I'll be more carefree about it. I think I've said everything I need to say. I hope that I sort of have. I think I've said enough. So yeah, if you like the video, give it a thumbs up and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye. And it's the Rose Lilac Classic Fap. Oh my God. So the just shoulder strap, I feel like it sits at, oh shit me.